Hey everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a great week and I hope your weekend's going to be awesome. So today I'm at Tippecanoe in Indiana. It's a nice park, been here for a while. Give you some more details about it later on. But one of the things that they have here is a big old freaking fire tower that I'm about to climb, and you climb with me. It's not recommended for someone who has like health problems or breathing problems. But thank you for coming along. Hey everyone, do you know the history of the Indiana fire towers? Well, here's a little brief history. In 1930, Indiana began constructing a series of fire towers with the goal of having no visibility gap. By 1952, Indiana had 33 towers, most of them in the southern half of the state. They also had a very specific set of tools that they would use to do their job. These included communication equipment such as radio and telephone, either or both, a psychrometer, which measured humidity and determined fire danger, alidade, which was to determine the exact location of the fire. The Osborne Fire Finder, it was used to pinpoint a fire. An alidade, sometimes referred to as an Osborne Firefinder Finder, consisted of an oriented topographic map on a circular disc. Movable sighting apertures were opposite each other on the disc. The fire lookout lined the apertures on the plume of the smoke that they saw and determined the line on which the fire was located. Another fire tower lookout did the same process. The fire was located where the two lines crossed. Many of the Indiana lookouts were local farmers. They were recruited when the fire danger was high. Sometimes a wife or other family member would serve as a lookout. Lookout duties included watching for smoke, locating and reporting suspicious smoke plumes, taking weather readings, communicating with fire crews during a fire, recording the fires, and keeping the area around the tower mowed and keeping the outside clean. Lookouts had to pass a vision test and had to be able to climb the tower several times. During World War II, many of Indiana's lookouts were women. By the 1970s, planes had replaced fire towers as the means of locating fires. Today, fires are reported by local residents. And for example, the fire tower here that stands in Tippecanoe State Park stands as a sentinel, reminding us of a time when Indiana was protected by a series of towers that were staffed by dedicated lookouts. Tippecanoe Fire Tower. A lot of people up here. Look at this. Kind of handed around. What's going on? Look at that. Crazy, isn't it? Up close a little bit. I got it. Check out some more spaces here. One thing I always like bringing up is some of the benefits of going to so many state parks. Um, Tippecanoe, just like a lot of the other parks that I've been to, whether it's been Indiana or Kentucky, they all, well, not all, but a good portion of them give you the ability to rent cabins. One thing that's nice about this is most of these cabins are a lot less cheaper per night than it is to go to a hotel. They usually can, I think most of them are about 6 to 8 people. Usually comes with a couple bunk beds and one full-size bed, so you can have enough people in there. They don't have facilities inside. They're not really meant to be that way. It's the closest thing you can get to glamping without having facilities. But on the outside, you'll get things like a picnic table, a fire pit. You know, some places they actually give you air conditioning at least, which is nice. So if it's a hot, blistering summer, you're not going to worry about dying inside of a cabin. And usually you could rent these for 5, 6 days or more. You know, it depends on how much you want to do. The nice thing about that is sometimes it's just easier and cheaper to get a cabin instead of buying a tent and all the other stuff, even though you can't beat tent camping for nothing. You just can't. But for some people, it's just better just to pay whatever, $80 a night or whatever it is, and have nice peace and quiet. You know, have the ability to cook outside, have the ability to take walks around the park. Tippecanoe also has horse trails. So the nice thing about that is you actually can bring your horse here. They do have dock areas where you can drop a boat in the water. Unfortunately, they don't rent boats here. So you'd have to bring a boat in or talk to maybe an outfitter in the area and see if they can actually loan you a boat or rent you a boat, however it works. But it's definitely something to look into. In a lot of these places, you can rent these cabins directly on recreation.gov, which is one of the sites, or just go to Indiana Department of Natural Resources website and choose the park that you want to be in, well, the park that you want to actually rent the cabins in, and then you could do the reservations right there, whatever days, find out what amenities they have, and you can just set it up and try it. I mean, it's really kind of nice, you know, bring some charcoal, a cooler, you know what I mean? They do have facilities on the property, so you can go to the washroom, and they do have shower buildings in some parts of the property where you can go. They also have a youth tent camp area, which is good for younger people. They also have a rent-a-center camp area where basically it's just a big field where you can actually just drop your tent. Again, you have to go online. The prices are usually relatively reasonable, but you're always better off going to the website and see if they have any deals or if they're booked up for the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is going to turn the camera around right now so that you can actually get an idea of how the back of this cabin that I'm sitting at, cabin number 2, looks. Maybe give you an idea for you and your family, especially when the weather gets a little bit nicer. I know today it's a little crummy, not so sunny, but you know, check it out. So check out the area and give me some comments in the bottom and see what you think, and let me know if this is something that you think would be better than tenting. It would be cool to start a conversation about what you like the most about camping, whether you would rather do a tent, a horse camp, a canoe camp, or even a cabin camp. You see, right behind the cabin that I'm sitting at, I mean, you have other cabins, you know, about the same distance as, like, say, in your neighborhood. But, you know, mind you, not all of these cabins are going to be rented at the same time. It's probably a good idea. Like if you have family coming in from out of town or out of state, and you're having, like, say, a barbecue, I mean, a reception or something like that, that would be kind of cool. You know, just get a chance to get out here, get out in the fresh air. Of course, bring bug spray, bring plenty of water, and they do have a general store here, so you can actually go ahead and get stuff that you need, like amenities, like if you need charcoal or butter or ketchup or whatever you need. But here you go. So this is the tents, and if you take a look, it's a whole area. It's like a whole little neighborhood of just cabins. So it's kind of cool. So check it out. Go to Tippecanoe's website or to the Indiana DNR website and check it out for yourself. I think you'll find it's a really good, affordable option for a little holiday. So remember, I was telling you about the cabins and how affordable they are compared to, like, hotels. And I know you're all like, well, geez, it's a cabin and it has no bathroom and it has no kitchen. And, what if I got to use the washroom, or what if I make a mess when I'm out in the woods hiking? Well, right not too far, I'd say maybe 200 yards, maybe a lot less than that, you have your shower house. So you have a private side for women, one for men. Each one has about 4 shower stalls, regular stalls to use the washroom, and you can wash your hands. And of course, Coke. Who doesn't want Coke? Even if it's Coke Zero or Diet Coke or whatever Coke you like, they got it. Hey everyone, so what you see in front of me is called Camp Tippecanoe Hall. This stands as a reminder of what was once a bustling group camp. In the mid-1930s, the WPA, which stands for Work Progress Administration, more about that a little later, began hiring skilled workers to construct a 45-building camp, Tippecanoe. The camp was located on a federally owned Winnemac Recreation Demonstration Area and was to serve low-income urban youth from Gary, Michigan City, and South Bend. Tippecanoe Hall offers a beautiful example of the park rustic style of architecture. This style used native materials for a natural look. Tippecanoe Hall is considered one of the best works of the Works Progress Administration. A second group camp called Camp Potawatomi was constructed at Tippecanoe River State Park, similar to Camp Tippecanoe. Camp Potawatomi, say that fast, Potawatomi, used the same style of architecture and included a mess hall, cabins, and a crafts building. In 1943, the state took over the Winnemac RDA, and the property and facilities became the Tippecanoe River State Park as it is today. Ooh, reminds me of a medieval dining hall somewhere, maybe in Europe or something. Look at that big fireplace over there. Imagine that lit up all nice and warm and toasty, especially when it's rainy and cold. Sitting back with some friends. Obviously, you're not really allowed to drink like alcoholic beverages here at the parks, but hey, your favorite soft drink, cola, juice, whatever it is. But just imagine that. Sitting here, raining outside, fire going in the fireplace, maybe cooking a burger or something over a grill. That's the life. That's the life for me. So you prefer sitting outside with a little bit of fire? This is the back patio of the Nature Center. Ain't that nice? Take a look at that. Woo-wee. Hey, what does this bench say? Oh, the river shelter was constructed by the young men of the Works Progress Administration in 1938. Ain't that special? That's awesome. Here's an interesting fact. Bank stabilization, protecting the river and the park. Did you know that the Tippecanoe River is always changing its course? At times, these natural river movements come into conflict with the park. The problem, in less than 20 years, this bend in the Tippecanoe River had moved 50 feet into the park. The river was carrying the picnic area away. Oh boy. Bank undercutting made the site dangerous and unappealing to park users. What was the solution, you're saying? Well, in 2002, a bank stabilization project was implemented. First off, work on the river level, control erosion by using control fabric, grade it a little bit so if the water comes up, it's going to be on a bank and it'll just fall back into the water. Install a glacial stone to help give you a bit of a water, and increase the level of the bank. And then plant native grasses and wildflowers and trees that would help with erosion and prevent the land from basically withering away into the river. The result of this was the bank is now stable and protecting the park and its visitors. Here's some more fun facts for you. Did you know healthy mussels equal a healthy river? You want to learn about mussels? Okay, stay tuned. Did you know that the Tippecanoe River is home to one of the most diverse populations of freshwater mussels in the United States? Mussels are an indicator species, which means that large reproducing mussel populations suggest that the water quality is good. After mussels die, The shells that remain are important to the ecosystem. Empty shells can be used to house fish eggs or insects, macroinvertebrates. Big word. Their biology. Mussels are invertebrates, which means they do not have a backbone. Instead, they are encased in two hard shells. Mussels cannot move much on their own, but they do have a small single foot. This can help them dig into the substrate or move small distances across the stream bottom. Also, mussels also have an amazing and unusual life cycle that includes fish as hosts. Don't worry, this process does not harm the fish. To attract the fish, the mussels have developed a very ornate lure that resembles small prey items. Pretty interesting, eh? Did you also know that mussels are great filter feeders? This means that they can filter 8 to 10 gallons of water per day. Mussels filter sediments, directly purifying the water and improving the water quality. Mussels cannot tolerate hell of pollution, however, so obviously if you're not seeing a large population of mussels, that just goes to show you that there's a high quality, or I should say high bad quality of water in the lake or the body of water that you are looking at. Pretty interesting. Again, for more information, or you'd like to have more information about this, I could do more of a deep dive into water or river-based species. Some of my viewers may be quite young and some of you might be a little bit older. But the interesting thing about the state parks, in general, some of the ones in Indiana and actually some other states, we had what was called the Depression, which was in the 1930s. Because of it, there was people who needed jobs. It was just really bad. People were having all kinds of financial problems. And this happened following the stock market crash of 1929. The United States was gripped in a financial depression and unemployment was at an all-time high. At the time, the newly elected President Franklin Roosevelt went into action to create programs to alleviate the unemployment and create uplifting outdoor experiences. He created what was called the Works Progress Administration, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. The WPA was created in 1935. This was to provide jobs for skilled unemployed men. These workers lived locally and returned to their homes and families at the end of the day. The WPA work was project specific, and men worked only until a project was completed. In this program, they also created what was called the Recreational Demonstration Areas. These projects were to take land that was unsuitable for farming and develop it for recreational use. Nice idea, hey? The land acquired for RDAs received improvements such as erosion control, tree plantings, and recreational development. Frequently, this included the construction of group camps. Group camps were a way to provide urban youth with opportunities to improve physical well-being, develop desire and better health habits and attitudes, improve social relations, and develop stability in their lives. Quite interesting, don't you think?